The Children's Act is being changed to close gaps in the legislation, and it seems there's a lot of gaps to close. Listen to this. Additional controls include the role of unmarried fathers, care and protection of children, child abduction, surrogacy, early childhood development, or ECD, and adoption. Child Rights Specialist Christina Nomdo joining me now to unpack how some of these changes are going to affect you as a parent. Christina, good morning to you. It's always a pleasure speaking to you. As you would have just heard, and as you'll know, of course, there's a lot that is changing as far as this act is concerned. We can't go through all of them. I'd like to focus on two, if that's okay, just because it's been a big talking point this year, Christina, the role of unmarried fathers in the changes in the Act. What exactly is changing and what does it mean?
Morning. I think that what one needs to understand is that the Children's Act is changing completely. So before us we have in Parliament the amendment bill which has more than 100 clauses for changes to the entire way we regulate the relationship between parents and children and the broader society, so service providers to children. And you quite rightly mentioned that one of the most important things for children is their relationship with their parents. As the Western Cape Children's Commissioner, I work with child government monitors, and they have discussed what they feel is critical to be able to bring into this new law. And for them, what is critical is the ethos of care. So they believe that all children deserve love, all children deserve good parents, and good parents is not necessarily determined by gender identity. So we cannot just take for granted that all mothers are good parents and all fathers are bad parents. And this is something that we are addressing with the Parliament in the new law, in our submission from the Child Government Monitors and the Western Cape Children's Commissioner. Also one, Christina, that's become very much a talking point, especially off the back of COVID-19. In fact, during COVID-19, not off the back of it, it hasn't gone anywhere. During COVID-19 is ECD, early childhood development. This was exposed, and the problems with ECD, especially when it came to school food programs, organizations that were unable to feed children at schools, which we then know goes on to affect the way they behave and the way that they can engage at school. How is this Act going to bring ECD into some form of protection? Early childhood development is very important for our children. The first 1,000 days, starting at the conception of the child, is most important for us to create well-being and a good future for that child. And so it's very important that the role players in the child's life during that first 1,000 days and actually in the first 7 years of their lives is well supported. And so the law really speaks to the service providers to early childhood development care and trying to make it very more easy for them perhaps to provide these services. But you know, there are advocates that have said from the ECD sector that the law is actually putting more hurdles in the way of service providers. There is a big regulatory framework for what is required to provide ECD services. And so the government is pushing for this, you know, Rolls-Royce version is what my colleagues referred to in the context of South Africa, without meeting people halfway. And so I think the advocates in this area would like to see much more discussion about how we can meet people halfway and help them to meet the standards, the norms and standards for the regulation of ECD services. So there's going to be a lot of debate around this issue.
Christina, just before I start saying goodbye to you, I mean, you and I could unpack all of these potential changes, and as you say, there's hundreds. We simply can't go through all of them as we start getting closer to the time when these start getting rolled out. I'm sure we'll unpack them with experts like you. So right now it's a bill. My understanding, this has not been put through or signed in as an act yet. Do we know if 2021 is going to be the year where children get the rights that they're meant to have?
I think that the Parliament is doing its utmost best to, engage the public. So we've already submitted public submissions to the amendment bill. And there will be public hearings where the public can converse with Parliament to influence the final act. And I think Parliament is very serious about having this act passed in 2021. So we're all looking forward to this societal conversation about how we remake and reimagine childhoods in South Africa.
Christina, always a pleasure speaking to you. All the best for the festive season. I know it's a difficult time working in the children's sector, especially doing what you do, seeing what you're seeing, but at least you are doing everything you can to try and make a change for those who are affected. Congratulations to you, Christina Nomdo, Child Rights Specialist. So the Children's Act is being changed extensively, essentially being rewritten. There's so many changes expected in the new Act once it's signed in, hopefully in 2021.